Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. Welcome to today's WineView onboarding session. This is a 2 times per week activity where we are going to go over the core functionality of the platform. Just as a reminder, this is assuming you've created an account and registered your business. This is really going to go over what you need to do to set up your club for success, as well as probably answer a few questions you may have about the platform. The first half, we're going to go through the core functionality, and then the second half, I'll pass it over to my colleague, Amir, to go over what a member sign up and fulfillment looks like. So just jumping right in, this is our listings page in the account. Just to remind everybody how we got here, you've created an account and registered your business. You click on this icon here and click on your business. This will take you to your dashboard, which will give you a very quick snapshot of how many clubs you have, active members, and of course, your all-time revenue. So jumping into listings, we're going to go just through the listing process itself. First and foremost, we'll just jump into the Founders VIP Curated Club. There's a couple different club setup types you can do. First things first, you have to decide if you want to do local pickup only. We do have a shipping module and local and pickup options coming out very, very soon. But we'll say local pickup for now. We'll name our club. We do limit it to 50 characters, but we do support emojis, and we always suggest getting creative here, as well as a description to describe what the club's about, what's your story, as well as maybe what perks people can expect to have. The next question is, of course, what club type do you want to offer? This is a pretty important section, so I do suggest taking some time to think about this. Is it going to be a curated club, which means you are going to be determining what your members get each month? That's it. Or is it going to be what we call a customer or member choice club, which pretty much allows you to do a preset list, select what you want them to have by default, but you are going to give members the ability to change what they want, which the price may change, only going up, of course. So we'll go through both of those, but we'll start off with what we call the more simple approach. And then it actually looks like, so we're going to start off with the more simple approach, which will pretty much allow us to do the curated club. And this is what people select from based off of what you've already chosen for them. And this particular one, we're going to go over the cost per order, the billing, which is it going to be quarterly, annually, semi-annually, every other month, etc. And then also an important question is, how often are we going to fulfill? Most people, for ease of use, do both. So if it's both a quarterly, it's usually quarterly billing and quarterly fulfillment. But we do have some people that charge annually to lock people in for a 12-month period and then fulfill at a different time period. In this particular case, we already have it set up to be a quarterly billing cycle, monthly fulfillment, and it's going to be an individual fulfillment method, which we'll go over shortly on the fulfillment methods. The next page we have is the inventory selection. So with a curated club, it does ask you up front what items are included in this. Now, I know people tend to switch items around. They don't know what they're going to have before they fulfill, which is totally fine. We have people sometimes do things like this, variety of wines. If you know you're going to be offering 2 bottles per fulfillment cycle or per club member gets 2 per month, that's what you would indicate here with the 2. And the specific inventory needs come later. So it's totally fine to put something here that doesn't set in stone. So we'll go ahead and just uncheck this and leave what we have. Go to next. And then pickup settings. This one's pretty straightforward. This is the business address that people are going to come by to pick up their order. Of course, if you have more than one address, you can select that here. And the default pickup note is if you have pickup parties or you want to communicate something frequently to members like, hey, please remember pickup times are between Friday 1 to 4, etc. Member perks, this goes into specific perk redemption, which if you use the Toast POS, you will be able to connect these perks and have it communicate with checks. Otherwise, it's great to add to the listing to show it's not just about the wine that they're getting. They also get a lot of these great perks. It is important to note that there are 3 kinds that you could set up. One is a discount, which is a percentage or dollar amount. The next is a benefit, which is just a concept. It is not something you need to track. And the final one is an item. So the difference, the biggest mistake that we see is people get benefit and item confused. So just to be clear, an item is something you need to track. So if it's like a flight of wine once a month, you need to know if somebody's redeemed that or not, versus an engraved wine opener or VIP parking space is a benefit and it doesn't need to be tracked. Both should be listed, obviously, but there is a difference between those two. So you'll create it with the name, select the perk type, and go from there. And then we get into images. So we do recommend 3 images at least. Of course, with all the AI tools out these days, you can use some AI to enhance some of these. I actually think this image is AI generated, but 3 to 5 images ideally, because we do a grid style layout there. Getting into the final configuration, we do have the membership availability. You may want to limit the number of members, or you may want to create a sense of FOMO. You can set a limit to the number of people who can sign up. Don't worry, you can always update this later if you want to take on more members. It does automatically fill up and open up slots based off of the actual membership level. So once you set this, it's relatively automated. This next section is really to spice up your club. If you want to have, custom tags, that's totally fine. You can say what wines are, as an example, are we offering? We can say we're doing a variety. We're doing red wines, white wines, or if hey, we're going to offer a lot of really cool Cabernet blends, for example, you can do that, etc. These are more like, kind of ways to explain it. Like, is it beginner friendly? Is it, date night delights? Is it, if you're based in California, is it, California based or West Coast wines? Get creative, right? These are optional, but we do see people use it just to kind of make the club look a little bit cooler. Cancellation policy goes here. We have a standard piece here, but you can always update that if you like. And then we just have a very quick review page, what we went over. We'll go ahead and save our changes. And that is how you set up a curated club. Now, one thing I'll go over really quickly is the where the customer choice comes into play. So we'll edit this one, and you'll see just a couple of changes. It's pretty similar for a few of these steps. So I'll skip over it. So we do the pickup, the name, the description. We did say, of course, this is customers pick their bottles. And then you'll notice a couple of different things here. One is the minimum cost per order. That's the same. Quarterly is the billing. We do lock when you fulfill, simply because of the logic behind this. Whatever you select for billing cycle, that will affect the fulfillment. So be sure that matches up properly. And in this case, we'll do this as a monthly. And then we have a fulfillment question here. So if you have a club that is over 100 members, we typically recommend doing a cycle-based fulfillment. That way you can process bulk fulfillment items and you're not having to do them one by one. But if you do have under 100, we do recommend doing this individual fulfillment, which allows you to have custom fulfillment dates for each guest. So we'll go with cycle-based fulfillment here. Very quick, when are we starting this club? Most do start immediately. And then we do what day of the month, say the 1st. Cutoff is really, okay, do we want people really signing up at the last minute if we don't have inventory needs? So if you need some time and you don't want people to be lumped into this cycle, you could say, I want to cut off new members for this particular cycle 5 days before. Otherwise, if you're like, no, I'm good, I have enough inventory, you can do the minimum, which is 1 day. And then customer choice, in this case, you want people to be able to choose their bottles. We're going to go with how many days before that do they need to choose. Most people I see do between 3 and 5. And then how many bottles are expected. In this case, we have 4. So you can see how the inventory page is gone now. This is a big difference, is whenever you decide, okay, this is the release for this quarter, here's what we pre-selected. Amir will go over that in the fulfillment demo, but this says just on the listing, how many bottles are they going to get to choose from? Same thing with the pickup settings, same thing with the perk settings. Images are the same. This is the same. And that's really the key difference there. So we'll save this club as well. All right, and that's the listing editor itself. If you want to preset inventory items and perks so it's easier to do during listing, you can always set them up on the listings. But inventory section lives here. As you can see, we have a couple modes here. Again, if you use Toast, you can have them synced with the Toast POS, or we do have our system where you can add them from scratch with the name of the item, images, pricing, if you want to track the quantity or not. And that way you have it readily available for listings. Now, when it comes to perks, it's very similar here. with setup. This also syncs to the Toast POS, but you can also do the custom items like we did during the listings here. On the team front, it is web-based, so you can open this from any device, but let's just say you want to have a dedicated tablet, iPad, phone, etc. Set up and ready to go that only can check in members. You can create a role, as an example, as a host, in which case you can say exactly which roles that they have here. So if you want to have a device that's locked to this, or have several employees that only can check members in or do very specific functions, or even view listings to describe them and have something on hand, you can do that here. Super easy to invite. You just make sure you send a new invitation, put in their email, select the role that you want them to have, and then you send the invitation. All right. And then in the settings side, so we do understand how important branding is to make it feel like a seamless experience. So in your theme settings, you can actually set your primary colors and your secondary colors, and you'll see a very quick example here, at which point you can view the public profile. In this demo account, we have a couple of our different listings here, in which case members can select which items they want to have. And from here, they will sign up and live in the members section. So we'll go back to our members section. And this is where members live. Fulfillment we'll get into in just a second on how they sign up and how fulfillment's handled. But here we have a full list of the live members. If we click on Gary, for example, we have a ton of customer data that we collect, from their check-in history to their membership details, when did they join, what wines are supposed to be allocated for them. And if they come in and they're like, hey, my card's expiring next month, can you update it? You can easily click the plus icon and update their card number. They can, of course, do this through their profile, but that's nice to have. Fulfillment, we clearly say what fulfillment period they're a part of, if they picked up or not. And we can have a complete history as well as customer notes. And if you use the Toast POS, and in the future other POSs we'll be integrating with, to open a check and automatically apply discounts, I would click on Start Check-in. We can see my perk here is 15% off. And we do have an item being tracked here, which is why that differentiation is very important. And we'll say create an open check on the Toast POS. That is now open on the terminal, and everything else goes through the POS front there. At which point I pay or I close out my tab, this will automatically close, and we'll have a complete check-in history, as well as what my check number was and what items were added during that time. And that relatively wraps up the high-level functions of this admin tool. I will pass it to Amir from here to go over the specific fulfillment process for both cycle-based and individual, as well as what the member experience looks like when signing up. Amir, you're up. If you're talking, I believe you might be muted.
Yeah, I think you need to enable the screen share on my side.
Ah, okay. Pesky Google going on here. Let's see here. All right, give it a shot.
Awesome. Cool. So I'll go ahead and we'll start on this tab over here. Great. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk through how the customer experience looks like. So every single business is able to get this kind of a page where you have your business profile on the side over here and all the clubs that you have available for subscription over here. You can customize this page to show different accents for your colors, as well as upload logos. And there's more customizations that we're rolling out that will let you kind of customize this according to needs that fit your website. And you can link straight to this page from any website you want. So we're going to go ahead and just show you what a club setup would look like. This is what a member would see as they're going through the sign up process. They'll see everything about your club, what kind of a club it is, what the member perks are, what the delivery options are. As Gary mentioned, we offer both local pickup and shipping. And so for this particular listing, we have pickup available only. This is a cycle-based club, so it actually tells them exactly when the pickup would be if they signed up today and by when they have to sign up in order to be included in that pickup schedule. So I'll go ahead and click here. It's very clear. You can see your pickup schedule, when you'll be billed, as well as when your next 4 pickups will be as a member, and where exactly you'd be picking up your order from. You even have the option to set some kind of a message here, which will be shown to the customer, letting them know exactly how the pickup process will work, and if you'll be having pickup parties or anything else fun like that. So we really suggest kind of filling this information out so that customers can see exactly how your club is run. At this point, we'll go ahead and switch over to the actual club itself and go through the fulfillment process. So as Gary mentioned, there are 2 types of clubs and 2 types of fulfillment cycles. One is individual based, which means basically that anyone who subscribes, they are on their own cycle. They will be processed as soon as they sign up. So we're going to go ahead and go over here. So you'll see all of your different members in this drop down over here, and then you'll see that their dates line up with the club schedule. So if it's every month, it'll show the first day they signed up to the next month as their first cycle. Their next cycle will be from that date to the next date, and so on. If it's every 2 months, this would be saying that it would be from September 17th through November 17th, and then from November 17th through January 17th. And so it's all done pretty easily for you over here. We'll go ahead and process this actual period. Once you go into this, you'll see that you can actually go ahead and select which items you're going to be using to fulfill. As we mentioned before, you can promise a certain amount of items to a member, but if for some reason inventory runs out, or if you need to do a swap, you can easily pick that swap over here and then process that order. As part of the pickup process, you can also send up a notification email to the customer, which lets them know that their order is now ready for fulfillment. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this order ready for pickup. And you'll see that period number 2 for Carla has now been marked ready for pickup. And when Carla comes in to pick up this order, again, we have the option, if they want on the spot to change out something that they want instead, we have the option to do that through the platform right here, and it'll control all the inventory needs. It'll sync with Toast. All of that is handled by our platform. And I'll go ahead, just for the purpose of this demo, we will not do any swaps. We'll go ahead and process this pickup, and you'll see this has now been fulfilled. We have a pickup completed message over here, as well as a timeline that shows exactly what the steps were, when do you send out the email to the person, and when they actually came in to pick up their order. So this is for individual-based fulfillment. We're going to switch gears and look at the cycle-based, which basically works similarly, but you can do bulk processing. And so every cycle is determined by your listing cycles, by your listing settings. So in this case, this is a monthly club, and we have said that we're going to be processing on the 15th of that month. So that's why the first cycle is on the 14th. Starts on the 14th and goes through January 14th. We'll go ahead and open this up. And you can see all of the different kinds of cycles for the future that'll start populating as you go through the process of opening new cycles. Now, this person, we're going to go ahead and process them because if you remember, we signed them up. This is a quarter-based club. We're going to go ahead and process them exactly the same way as we did with the individuals. But if there are more members over here, we could process all of them in bulk for that cycle. So you don't have to do it one by one. You can do 10 members at once and say, okay, they all received the same item. These are the 2 or 3 or 4 items that they're supposed to receive. Send them all emails at the same time. And then that way they are able to all process and be able to also then pick up at the same time as well, or on their own schedule. So I'll go ahead and send this Carla a message to pick up her order. You can see it's been marked ready for pickup with 4 items. And this process is exactly the same as individual. When they come in to actually pick up the product, you can swap it out, or you can go ahead and stay with the actual pickup that they were scheduled for. And then when you click process pickup, it's marked as fulfilled. We have a similar timeline and we have a similar processing session. This will show you a summary of how many completed pickups have happened in a cycle. So you can switch cycles and see which members were part of different cycles. As you can see, Carla had not signed up for the cycle, so she's not part of the September-October cycle, but she is a part of the future cycles. I can open more cycles over here. And you'll see all members as they continue joining will start showing up and populating here based on when they signed up. And that should conclude the fulfillment side.
Fantastic. Excellent. Now at this stage, we typically like to open the floor if there's any questions to put in the chat, or of course, if you unmute yourself, feel free to pop any questions in. I know everyone just about has their account set up or has some listings. So this is kind of a open Q&A at this point. All right. I know I did have a question earlier, Amir, about website integrations. I believe we're still working on the iframe deployment, but what most people are doing, I think you mentioned, most people are doing either redirects with a website button where it says explore our clubs, or they're just taking the QR code and potentially putting it directly on their site, correct? There's not, we are working on website integrations. That's not ready yet, right?
No, that's not ready yet.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So in this case, I would say for website integrations, use that redirect to go to your business page. And that's where that branding and theme comes into play. But also it is good to have potentially even links. Like if you say I have club 1, 2, 3, you can actually take that URL for club number 1 and link it to that button. So that's best practices right now. Of course, as soon as we have some further website integrations, we'll let everybody know. Have another question here. Can we do an example of the Toast integration piece? So Amir, is there ability to do the Toast emulator on this call?
Sure. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that really quickly. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. I will have to share my whole screen for this one. And here we are. Okay, so can anyone see my screen?
Yep, looks good to me.
Not. Oh, yes.
Awesome. Great. So what we're going to do is we're going to run through 3 or 4 different things. I think Gary already kind of ran over how the inventory can be synced with Toast. I'll just quickly show you that you can actually go ahead and click here. When you click import from Toast, you can import any items from your Toast terminal. And you can even search for items and look at the existing items that you have synced that you don't want to sync anymore. So this is coming directly from the setup that you have had on your Toast POS. Same thing applies to the perks. If I go ahead and click here and click perk, and we want to add a new perk here, I can select a item. These items are again coming from Toast itself. And if I want to set up a discount, these discounts are coming from Toast itself. So we've already added a few perks over here. As you can see, the source is mentioned. The source, if it's not Toast, it's manual. And we have 2 free glasses of wine per visit, as well as 15% off all purchases. So we're going to go ahead and go into our members side. And this is a Toast POS. This is how it appear on your actual terminal. So I will open this up and log in. There's a couple of people over here that we're going to close out so that we can go ahead and have a clean interface. And we will clean this out as well. Cool. So we have Carla over here, who is a member of this club. We're going to go ahead and check in Carla. So I will click the start check-in button over here. And what we're going to do is we're going to give her 1 flight of wine, and we're going to add the 15% off all purchases that we have given as a perk of this club. So when I click complete check-in, you'll see that Carla has now been added to the Toast terminal as a open check. We have now shown over here that we have a Toast check, there's a timeline, there's a location, and there's a check-in history associated with this check-in. I'm gonna go ahead and go over here, and I'll make this a little bigger so that you can kind of see this a little bit better. But what I really want you to keep an eye on is as we do things over here, we can actually see live updates happening on our Toast side. So the only thing you have to do to check a member in is click that check-in button that we did at the beginning of this process. But after that, every single thing is done through the Toast terminal. So we're going to go ahead and update this, and we will add a few items over here. And then we're going to go ahead and maybe, as you can see, the discount is already being applied, $6.45 discount. And we're going to go ahead and send this to the kitchen. And now we're going to go ahead and pay this. So when I click pay over here, you can see that we have the same options as you would have on the actual terminal. I'm going to use a card. We're going to key in the card number, and we are going to put in a test card number over here. And we will go ahead and make this payment, add some tip, and then we're going to process this. On this step, as soon as you press no receipt over here, we can see on this side, we've updated the check-in automatically. It shows exactly when the user came in, what time they checked out, what the total of the check was, as well as what the payment method was. So you have all the information there. And it's so you don't have to do anything on this side ever again. This check is now closed, and you can check in more members. You can check in as many members as you want at any particular period of time. And this interface can be used from any device. It can be a mobile phone, it can be an iPad, it can be something your host or your waiters or servers carry around. And so all they have to do is just click once, they can check a user in, and from that point onwards, they can do everything on the terminal. It's all seamlessly integrated.
Awesome. And I do want to point out the fact as well, I think we've communicated this a few times, but just as a reminder, what we're seeing today is the alpha program we have going. So if you've not signed up for the alpha itself, we will need the actual permission. So if you haven't done that, get with me, Gary at WineView.com. That way we can get you in the alpha program. I think by November, we'll have what they call a general release, which means you'll be able to turn on the integration from your terminal. So this is a new product for us. So just understand that it is on your Toast terminal right now. You can actually turn on the WineView integration, but that is only particular to other products. So again, if you want to be in this alpha program, what we're seeing here, just shoot me an email, and we'll let you know what next steps look like. And I guess to Amir on that Toast piece, it's important to note the inventory during fulfillment, when you say, this is what they picked up. It actually,
exactly.
Yeah,
good point, Gary. I was going to go ahead and demonstrate that really quickly. So what we can also do is we can track the actual perks that you're offering as part of the club. So I just went ahead, as Gary was speaking, I added a perk that's tracked by Toast, and that perk is a it's a free glass of wine, actually. So we're going to give 2 free glasses of wine per visit. And we're going to go ahead and select this as the actual perk that this person is going to be redeeming. This perk is not synced with Toast. That's why it will not reflect, but these 2 free glasses of wine are synced with the Toast POS. So we're going to complete this check-in. You'll see that we've already opened this up over here. This person has been dining with us. And so when I added the perk, I added Amazing Wine 1.0 as a perk. So this is the actual perk that they're redeeming. They have 1 redeemed that we said that we're going to open the check with, and there's 1 remaining on this cycle. So when I click here, I'm going to edit this check, and you're going to see me take this 1, and I'm going to make this into a 2 so that we're redeeming 2 of these. I'm going to click done over here, and you'll see that this side should, let me just go ahead and, I have to send it to let me go ahead and send this. And you can see now we redeemed 2 of these Amazing Wines 1.0s. There's 0 remaining for this cycle. This person has already redeemed their 2 glasses of wine. And so we can go ahead and update this check, let them know if they want any more items, just like you would do. Press send, and we're going to go ahead and pay for this again. I will close this out over here. And you'll see as we close this out, this will update over here again, and it'll tell you that they redeemed 2 free glasses of wine for this visit. This was their exact total with the tip included, as well as a timeline. So if this member, Carla, if she comes in today, we had set this to be 2 free glasses of wine per day. So if I click here and I click start check-in, you can see she can no longer redeem this from anywhere. So all your locations will share this information across all their tablets, all their mobile phones, anything that's running WineView. They'll be able to see this updated information. So if you have multiple locations and someone comes in today, grabs 2 glasses of wine here, then goes to a tasting room or somewhere else and tries to redeem them again, your staff will be able to see that they've already redeemed this for the cycle and that they can no longer add that to their check.
Excellent. Thank you, Amir. I have another question. This is more related to marketing that came through. They're asking what are some best practices to market to their potential new members? And I've had this question a lot. We have a couple different ways that you can use the platform, which I'll cover really quickly. One is the automatic QR code generation that we do for listings. The other is the business page. But just taking a bit of a step back, I think there are general best practices when it comes to getting new members. First things first, you likely know who your loyal customers are. They're there like once a week or more than once a week. They may have even been the ones that pushed you into doing a wine club. So, if you're very, very early and starting out, knowing who, those founding members might be or people that are really going to support you along the way are good to target. But also, we hear this a lot about, having newsletters and email lists and stuff. But Toast, if you do use Toast or other POSs, they usually do have a section, whether you know or not, that does have some customer information like phone numbers, emails, etc. So you can actually pull this data and send out, a notice like, hey guys, we're offering a wine club. We'd love you to join, kind of talk about the highlights, or if you do have a VIP or founders club, kind of let people start to know that there's some, momentum and energy around this. And then finally, it's just kind of training your staff to mention it, because when you're checking out, you've had a great evening, they had a great experience. That's a really good opportunity to get them to join your wine club. So when they're checking out at the register, if you have a retail shop, have a QR code displayed, or make sure your staff member knows to mention it, or ask if they're members so they get their discounts and perks. If you're a restaurant, include a little pamphlet with the check. If you're a winery, you probably, that's like your core of your business. You probably know what you're doing there. And then wine bars, it's the same thing, right? It's the staff component of, hey, this is something that we're launching. We'd love to have you join, and make it competitive. So with our other modules that focus on training, we find a lot that if you can incentivize staff, hey, whoever sells the most bottles of wine this week gets a $25 Starbucks gift card. Just some creative ways to kind of get the word out, because the best place to sign someone up is when they're at your place of business. So I did want to point that out. So let's see if there's any other questions in the chats. No. All right. Awesome. Well, this has been a actually much quicker session than normal. But we will send this recording out to everyone. If you want to rewatch this, I know we always cover a lot in these onboarding sessions, or if you have specific, questions about your setup and listings, you can always shoot us an email, support@wineview.com. Otherwise, everybody have a great rest of your Thursday. And if you need anything, just let us know.